Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe Archino back here in the English Premier League title race. It seems like the picture is kind of becoming a little bit more clear. We had a couple matches the other day, and things have changed up a bit, but not too much. I'll give you the top four as follows: Leicester City in first with 50 points, Manchester City in second with 47 points, Tottenham Hotspur in third with 45 points, and Arsenal also in fourth with 45 points. And obviously, the question everybody continues to ask is, can Leicester City hold on and win the Premier League title? And, it's a difficult question to ask because Arsenal and Manchester City have so much talent. But if you had to separate these clubs, Leicester City has been the most consistent club in the Premier League this season. Now, they don't have the most talent in the English Premier League, but when it comes down to consistency and capitalizing on opportunities, they have been the best. They've also been very healthy, where Man City has struggled with injuries. Arsenal has also had some key injuries. They've been able to stay healthy. They prioritize team football. I mean, they have the leading scorer in the Premier League in Jamie Vardy. Mahrez is second in the Premier League in assists. Those two combinations right there are kind of the epitomization of Leicester City football. They're unselfish. They do everything from a technical standpoint right, and they believe in themselves. And I think more than anything, trying to sell your team that you can stand toe-to-toe with the giants of the Premier League when you're just this little Leicester is difficult, but the wins have come. You have handed it to the top clubs in the Premier League. You've been able to hold your own, and you're still holding the top spot in the Premier League. Now 3 points separates you from Manchester City in second place. That's a big, big confidence booster for a club like Leicester. I think the fact that they've been able to hold on to this spot this long says they're the real deal. Now, at the end of the day, you always kind of think, look, when the season starts out, sometimes, you have a club like Leicester that kind of goes on to this run, and then they kind of fall off the earth and they show who they really are after some time. But they have stayed the course. The winning has stayed the course. And if you had to try to define the seasons of Man City and Arsenal so far, their seasons have been defined by missed opportunities. Leicester capitalizes where Man City and Arsenal do not. And when the competitive advantage is not in your favor and you're these clubs with these star players and absorbent amounts of money and you're not winning the matches that you should, that means something to me. Leicester, I think, there's no clashing of egos, which is always something that a side like Arsenal and a side like Manchester City have to deal with. Is there's so much money at these clubs. A lot of these players have huge egos, and we see the trouble that can cause. Jose Mourinho is one of the top 3 managers in the world. There's no question about it. But he got pushed out of Chelsea after winning the title last season. That goes to show you how difficult it is to manage the egos. Outside of being a tactical guy, managing the egos is just as important, if not more difficult, for a manager. And with Leicester, you just get the sense that there is no clashing of the egos. Jamie Vardy does his thing. Mahrez sets everybody up. It's an unselfish team. They play the right way, and right now they find themselves in first place. And if I had to answer that question, can they win the Premier League title with the rest of the giants in this league? I would say yes, they absolutely have a chance because they've showed to me for a long enough period of time the consistency I think you have to win this title. Now, people will continue to disagree, but I've watched so much Manchester City. I've seen Arsenal in these big matches. The loss to Chelsea for Arsenal, again, proves to me that the inconsistency is just not anything I would fear. And Manchester City has showed time and time again against the clubs that really matter the inability to hold the competitive advantage. If those two clubs, who I think it's a 3-way race. Tottenham Hotspur is kind of always going to be on that line, but I think it's always a 3-way race this year between Arsenal, Man City, and Leicester City. Who's going to be the one who could continue to plunge ahead and find the most consistency? It's been Leicester to this point, and we will if I had to say and make the prediction now, I'd say they're going to continue to do so because you show who you are, and they've shown who they are through this patch. And if I had to kind of make the comparison with American sports, which I think always kind of helps if you're not really a big soccer guy, is in America, we always know you have playoffs. It's expected. That doesn't happen in the English Premier League. At the end of the season, the club with the most points wins the title. In the American setting, a club like Leicester wouldn't win through the playoffs. We saw it in the NBA last season. The Atlanta Hawks were the best team in the Eastern Conference. When they played the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals, they got swept 4-0. Superstars win in the playoffs in American sports. But in the Premier League, where things are different, there are no playoffs, there's no worrying about the Champions League. Leicester can just totally focus on winning this title. There's no worries about exorbitant wages and all the drama that most times is associated with a big-time club. They can just go out there, no egos involved, and play. And I think the simplicity is what makes Leicester so dangerous in what they're doing, and the simplicity is what is most likely going to lead them to a Premier League title. Now, again, it's very difficult still, if you've been watching football for a long time, to really believe in your soul that Leicester can win the title with so much talent elsewhere among those top clubs. But I just tell you, simplicity sometimes is everything. And when you look at Leicester and there's no egos involved and the consistency that they've shown, I think you've got to believe they've got every chance to win this title. Now, certainly if Man City starts to get healthy and if they could turn on this switch at any time, the title, in all honesty, should be Manchester City's. I mean, it shouldn't be even a question. But they've shown in all the matches that mattered against the Evertons, against Liverpool, against Arsenal, the inability to hold the competitive advantage. The competitive advantage has been in Leicester's favor. I mean, the matches we had the other day, they pull off a huge one against Liverpool, winning 2-0. I think the goals that Vardy scored and the message that sent is, again, just more and more confidence for that group. The more that they've held the first spot, the more they've had confidence. I think that confidence could have been shaken if they had a little bit of turmoil earlier in the season, but they didn't. They did not. They just continued to move forward and do things the right way. And right now, if you have to ask me, is Leicester City in position to win the title? I would say they absolutely are. But certainly there were still a lot of things that will happen, and will certainly be a lot of fun to see how the Premier League title race continues to unfold. But until that happens, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino, on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and I'll be back next time.